Welcome back. It's now 4 years after Governor Tony Evers announced a plan to move Wisconsin to 100% carbon-free electricity by 2050. Now, a report this week is making annual progress released by the Office of Sustainability and Clean Energy. I'm joined by Director Maria Redmond. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
So good to have you on the show. Let's talk about what that initiative means, right? What does it mean to reach 100% carbon-free electricity in the next less than 30 years?
Yeah, it is really important for Wisconsin citizens. So when we talk about 100% carbon-free electricity consumed in the state, that means that we're looking at emissions reductions throughout the state and in our energy use. And what that translates to is better health, cost savings, so more money in our pockets, making sure that our residents in the state are really reaping the benefits of lower emissions and better energy.
And what's some of the progress that the state has made in the last 4 years to get there? I know you touched on that in the lengthy report. If you could summarize a bit of what that has looked like in the last 4 years.
Yeah, definitely. So we've had to organize around what that really means for the state. So we developed 70 different strategies within the Clean Energy Plan. And while we can't do absolutely all of those, the things that we lean into are justice, equity, and collective action. And I think the thing that you'll see in this progress report is the collective action, that really a lot of our state agencies, a lot of our local partners, local governments are really leading the way, taking a lot of the strategies and moving them forward. And you see that in the report.
What are the broad steps that need to happen, right? I mean, that's a huge goal. Where are we at right now, and what steps do we have to take to get there?
So one of the things is that our utilities are really making progress and making sure that they're committed to transition to a clean energy economy. But we also have a role as residents, because you pay a utility bill, right? As do I, and so many of us pay utility bills, and so we personally need to be thinking about how we can be more energy efficient, how we can use different types of fuels and different types of transportation to get ourselves around. There's a number of organizations that have pulled together and say, how can we collectively work together so that we can get the information out to our residents and our communities to ensure that we're seeing a substantial change across the state.
So we're supposed to get to 100% free. What percentage estimate are we at right now?
So that's a good question. So the utilities have been moving. We really have been basing our numbers on the utilities, and we don't necessarily have a solid number right now, because it'll take time to measure over time the true impact of the emissions. So you have to hold tight for the number. We're going to be working on that over the next couple years to see what that true impact is.
One of the crucial steps here is, as I understand it, closing 3 of the state's 7 coal facilities. Have there been delays on that? Where do we stand right now on those closures?
So right now they're moving forward, is our understanding. We continue to talk with the utilities about their plans, and our Public Service Commission has done a really good job in tracking all of that information. So far, so good.
What's the timeline for that, though?
The timeline will be over the next, I think over the next 5 years. Is usually is what we've been tracking.
Gotcha. We've covered a lot of ground. What are we missing? What are some other highlights out of the report that you would raise here?
Well, I would just say that we have a really great opportunity right now. With the federal government has been pushing money to states, and one of the things that we need is resources and capacity, and we're really looking towards creating 40,000 new jobs in the state related to clean energy, to really get our residents aware of the cost savings that they could realize. And so the federal government has really stepped up, and we're going to be seeing a lot of funding coming to the state through infrastructure law and Inflation Reduction Act.
You mentioned, there's individual action to be taken here as well. I mean, what would you tell me, a utility payer, what's 2 practical steps to get my household towards cleaner energy?
Absolutely. So contact Focus on Energy. Likely you're in a utility that is participating in that program, and if you pay your utility bill, pay into that program, you're likely eligible for rebates and incentives that could potentially, light bulbs, improving your insulation in your home, things like that. So contacting Focus on Energy. Also thinking about how you transport yourself around. Can you get on a bike? Can you use public transit? Can you look at maybe, are you in a position to be able to buy a different vehicle? Maybe you could be looking at an electric vehicle. All of these steps are important.
Maria, thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, just ahead, Madison's mayor on her role in trying to re-elect President Joe Biden.